First of all, many thanks for giving us your time. I know the schedule is very tight. You're busy with your commentary work, and I really appreciate you giving us the time to do the interview for PackPassion.net.
No, absolutely, not a problem at all.
Ajit, the categories of the questions are basically to do with your own career, your views on other players and domestic cricket in India, and then some generic questions, and then a couple of questions regarding the small matter of India versus Pakistan next Wednesday.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Ajit. First of all, I mean, who inspired you to become a fast bowler? Who were your role models when you were getting into cricket?
I didn't have any role models as a fast bowler because I started my career as a batsman. That's how I started when I started with, incidentally, the same coach as Tendulkar, who's Ramakant Ansrekar. That's when I started my cricket, and I was a batter till the age of about 18, and that's when I took up bowling because I could bowl a decent bouncer. So, and that's how it started, and it kind of worked well for me later on.
And Ajit, you say that you literally overnight became a fast bowler. I mean, who actually inspired you to become a fast bowler? Was it your coach that noticed that you had the skills of a fast bowler, or was it yourself that decided that?
Not overnight. I always enjoyed bowling, but I used to be sort of slowish swing bowler. And then, as I was about 17 or 18, and I could bowl a decent bumper by then. And Sachin actually, we were playing a club game in Mumbai, and he spotted I could bowl at a decent, had a bit of zip, and I was a little bit deceptive. So he sort of encouraged me to, concentrate a lot more on bowling, because till then bowling was always, batting was always my priority, and then, and anyway, it worked well because I got a lot more wickets in our local cricket in Mumbai, and I played for Mumbai as a bowler, and then, the career sort of took off.
Ajit, you were very quick in reaching 50 international wickets, but then injury seemed to take over your career for a certain amount of time. Can you tell us the cause of the drop in performance when you came back from injury? Was it down to the injury? Was it a little bit of confidence or something else?
A bit of everything. I think, when you get injured early in your career, you need a little bit of help, guidance, and it's not easy to come back from injury. And plus, in international cricket, after your first season, a lot of people try and work you out. So then, sometimes it takes you a little bit of time. It's sometimes to do with confidence. If you're in and out of the team due to injuries, it always, hurts your confidence a little bit. But, over the course of the 180 odd games that I've played, I think my record in one-day cricket is reasonable.
You started out as an all-rounder of showing a lot of promise, picking up a century and fifer in the same match against Pakistan A for India A. Do you feel that you could have done better as a batsman in international cricket, Ajit? I mean, are you satisfied with your batting statistics?
No, not satisfied, but I primarily played as a bowler all throughout my career. This tag of all-rounder is only due to media. I never went out and said I'm the all-rounder, so, it's easy to put the blame if someone fails in one department saying that we said he was an all-rounder. So it's a little bit harsh, because I was always looked at as a bowler. I never batted higher than number 8, and I could have done a bit more with the bat. Agreed, I have decent ability with the bat. But, bowling took a lot of my energy, and that's where I concentrated, because if I didn't bowl well, I wouldn't be in the team. So to say I failed with the bat is perhaps a little bit harsh. I'm not satisfied with what I've done with the bat in international cricket, but I certainly failed with the bat is a little bit hard, because you'll always look at me bowling first, and then I could always contribute with the bat. Sure.
I mean, you were one of the most successful one-day international bowlers during the late 90s, early 2000s. Why couldn't? What are the reasons you feel you didn't cut it in Test cricket? Was it lack of opportunities or something else?
A little bit of everything. I think by the time I learned how to bowl in Test cricket, I had a few injuries around that time when I was bowling well. I generally have bowled well against Australia over my Test career, which is probably a good thing because they were the strongest team over the over that period since late 90s, and most of 2000 or even now they're still decent in Test cricket. Only the last 2 or 3 years that they've dropped a little bit. So yeah, but I mean, injuries at the wrong time sometimes were primarily the reason, because you've got to be at your peak fitness to play Test cricket, and I couldn't put a that's probably one of the disappointments where my Test cricket is, because I definitely could have played a bit more.
You mentioned a high success rate against the Australians. There's a term, cricketing bunny, is used. Of course, you will have heard that phrase quite often, Ajit. Justin Langer seemed to be your bunny. How come you were so successful against Justin Langer? What was the plan against him?
Outswings my stock ball, which comes into the left-hander. So he generally had problems with the ball coming. And having said that, I got him 5 or 6 times in that series.
Sure.
We played when we drew against Australia. I think it was Steve Waugh's last series. He still got a couple of hundreds. So it's not that but I had a fair amount of success against him. I enjoyed bowling. It generally happens when you probably have a little bit of wood on one of the batters. You somehow seem to put the ball in the right place for that batter more than the others. So, you're still a fantastic player and a tough opponent to bowl to. But, I've had reasonable success against him. Yeah. But maybe because outswing was my stock ball, and, the Kookaburra swings early on a lot, which obviously helped.
Ajit, your memories of India's historic Test win against Australia at the Adelaide Oval, 2003-2004, still fresh in your mind?
Yeah, very much so, because I was part of the tour in '99 where Australia completely trashed us 3-0. And although most of us toured there for the first time, it was a harsh lesson, and something which was quite difficult as a team to handle, to go there and lose 3-0. Although we didn't probably have enough experience as a team to go and beat them, we could have competed a bit better. So those memories were still fresh when we went there in 2003, and to actually have won the Test, and we could have probably gone on to win that series if we had played a little bit better in Sydney. We were in a position to, and to draw the series was very satisfying, especially the Adelaide Test, and to have contributed in that Test victory is always special.
And Ajit, from a personal perspective, the greatest moment of your international cricketing career, or perhaps domestic career?
I think there are few moments, but you always generally put the ones which you won before everything else, and Adelaide definitely marks as one of the moments of my career, because beating Australia is not easy. It doesn't matter what team you play, and that time the Australian team was really strong with everyone except maybe McGrath available. So that's probably the highlight when Test cricket goes. And one day cricket I've played a fair bit for India, so there's lots of good memories, lots of good victories. 100 at Lords comes to mind against England, although
yes.
Wouldn't rate it as one of the highlights because we lost that Test. So, but it was a nice feeling to get 100 and get on that honours board at Lords.
Ajit, who's the best captain that you've played under, and what was so good about that captain?
It'll be a little bit unfair to say best or worst, because everyone was different. I started with Azhar, and he was really good. He gave you the freedom to, as a youngster, when you start when you're 20, sometimes you looked up to Azhar as one of the greats of the Indian cricket, and you almost. And he was very easy on the field. He let you be. It was much easier playing against. Under Sachin, I played under. I knew he's quite a good friend, so by then I knew Sachin quite a bit when I played under, so it wasn't very difficult. Saurav, again, was completely different, because when he took over, there was a lot of turmoil happening in Indian cricket, and he had to, and a lot of young guys were coming through at that point. And then eventually Rahul, and Rahul was different. So they were all different, and as years went by, obviously all of them Sachin, Rahul, Saurav gained experience playing for India, and the team eventually got better as the years went on. So Dhoni I haven't really played under except for the World Cup 2020 victory that we had in South Africa. So I won't be really able to tell you, but looking from the outside, just temperamentally looks brilliant.
I was just going to come to the point of Dhoni. Obviously, Ajit, I mean, no matter who the captain is of India, there's always some quarters of, criticism regarding the captain. How highly do you rate Mahendra Singh Dhoni as a skipper?
Oh, brilliant! I think in the last 3 years since he started leading, he's leading all three formats of the game, which in itself tells you how good he is. To have a Tendulkar or a Dravid or a Sehwag in a team and to lead that team, really well. Tells you a lot about the guy's confidence and his temperament. And to do really well in all three formats. I mean, India's ranked, I think, number 2 in one day and number 1 in test at the moment. So this goes to show how successful he is. And, for someone so young to do it so quickly in his career, you don't really have to say too much about it because he's proved his record shows it. As I said before, I haven't really personally played under him a lot, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how he operates, but you can just watch and see how temperamentally good he is in difficult conditions.
Two greats of Indian spin bowling, Anil Kumble and Harbhajan Singh. Ajit, some words about them two, different characters of course. Your thoughts on how their careers have developed and who, in your opinion, was the better bowler out the two?
Both different, but I probably would think Anil's probably the biggest match winner India's produced. Somehow it hasn't seemed to get the credit that he deserves, and with due respect to everyone who's played for India, bowlers and who've done well, I think Anil's probably number 1 in terms of winning games for India. And Bhaji's probably going to end up very close when he finishes, and he's those two have won so many games in the last 7-8 years for India, that you can almost feel since Anil's retired, there's a lot more pressure on Bhaji to do it on his own, and luckily for India, Zahir and a couple other fast bowlers have stepped up. Otherwise, it's very difficult to replace someone like Kumble. So I'd probably put Anil as the number 1 bowler for India in the history of Indian cricket, just in terms of winning games. I mean, there's obviously the great Kapil Dev, who's to get 400 wickets in Indian conditions or subcontinental conditions is not easy for a fast bowler. But Anil and Bhaji have tormented a lot of teams that have come to India.
Ajit, looking at domestic cricket in India, any up-and-coming future seam bowling or quick bowling stars that we should be made aware of?
I won't say quick, but I mean the guys who are around at the moment, Praveen Kumar, who missed out of the World Cup, obviously he's quite promising. Ishant has been around the scene, Ishant Sharma, for the last 3 or 4 years now. He's probably one who's going to, be the future. Srishant's quite a good bowler, a bit unpredictable at times, but he's still a very, very good bowler. And there are a few bowlers around in domestic cricket, but you only know some of them when they play at the top level, how they actually handle the pressure and if they have enough skill.
Have you heard of a bowler called Varun Aaron, Ajit? You've heard of this guy?
Yeah, he was with us for a year with the Kolkata Knight Riders in the IPL. Unfortunately, he was injured, so I haven't really seen him bowl. But I hear he's got a bit of zip about it. So, and incidentally, he's I think in the Delhi Daredevils squad with me this year, so I'll probably have a look